Alrighty, guys. Welcome to this last trading day of June, June 30th, Monday. And we are in the July 4th week. It looks to me like we're going to have a very short week. Let's look at the holiday calendar, and it seems like the equities are closing half day on closing, well, 12:15 Eastern on or Central on Thursday and a half a day on Friday. So we had two half days, Thursday and Friday. So really just three trading days on the equities this week. The interest rates, energy, metals are closing regular at 4 o'clock on Thursday. So it's just equities closing early. So that's kind of an interesting week. So pretty much three trading days is what it looks like. Overall, markets edging up in the overnight. That's what it looks like. So far, this little move out of the middle is holding intact and extending. So we like it. We're going to see how far they can take it. Now, news for this week, we got, let's see. So we got 9:45 today, Chicago PMI, and that's pretty much it. Tomorrow we have Powell speaking at 9:30, testifying. We have PMI, ISM services, construction spending, job openings, a fair amount of stuff. Then we have ADP, the ADP report on Wednesday. No news. Oh, employment situation comes out on Thursday, not on Friday. Friday, no news is scheduled, but on so employment situation coming out on Thursday, half a day. International trade, jobless claims, all happening at 8:30. Factory orders, ISM service at 10. So a lot of news coming out on Thursday, July 3rd, and it's gonna be an odd news week for sure. And then, of course, an early close on equity. So we have the employment situation and an early close. Yeah, it could be pretty crazy. So I will start off on the long side this morning. Looks to me like they gapped up a little bit, started trading high, not gapped up, but they traded higher right at the open, kind of held the line. So far, they've been just extending a little bit to the upside. So 62.50 is where we're at. Let's see how far they can take it. So. And of course, always have to keep an eye on it. This is kind of a light volume rally right now, and you have a couple of support areas. They can retrace this pretty darn quick if something happens. So just be aware of that. So I would be looking to buy weakness, be very aware when if they start seeing like this selling pressure kick in, algos and whatnot, knocking it down, you may want to switch to the short side a little bit faster, a little bit more aggressively. But at this point, we're starting from the long side. No reason not to. Watch that lower edge at 62.25s. That's going to be 62.25s. Yeah, it's fairly aggressive. So it's going to be up here, the London low, the session lows. So looking to buy against the 62.45s, the 35s down to the 25s for rotations back up. But I would say below the 25s, you may want to take off the long buys and go back range bound. And watch this edge. You have one edge here at 6200. It's going to be a little bit lower. If that comes out, I would start looking for a retracement trade back to that 6150s. So that can happen pretty quick. So if we are still in the move out of the middle to the upside, we may keep going higher. There's nothing stops us from doing it at this point. But if they start taking out that session low, I would be a little bit more. I would take off the long bias, going back more range bound, and still look to buy support against the 6210s, 6200s, down to the 6190s. But watch that 6200 level. That comes out. It's this little ledge right there. We may see them run it right back here down to that 6150. So that's how we get started. I'm not going to be very aggressive on the short side. If anything, I would be just looking for quick scalps from the highs. Could be like back to the mean kind of rotations, but it depends on what the session looks like. But at this point, starting off range bound, you can see the volume is pretty normal, 130,000 in micros, 125,000 in full size. So fairly normal volume, nothing crazy going on at this point. We'll see if they can get that bill over the line. If they can make that happen, that would be pretty spectacular, but we'll see. And then finally, go back to let's go to bonds and the Nasdaq. Nasdaq also making new highs. They are heading higher. They are really extending to the upside. So they're up here at the 22,800s. Looking to buy weakness on Nasdaq at this point again, 22,850s. 800s down to the 740s for rotations back up. I would say below the 740s. That would be this ledge. No, that's not quite this one. This ledge right there. I would just give it down to the 680s. That's probably the better way to do this. So give it down to the 680s since Nasdaq is a bit more volatile. So here's your 690s is kind of the level. So looking to buy against 850s, 800s, 730s down to that 680, 690s for rotations back up. Below 690s, that would be this volume edge. Start looking for take off the long bias, go back range bound. Still look to buy weakness as they trade lower, but they can retrace pretty hard to the downside. You're not going to find good support until you get down to the 420. That's going to be your closest attractor after that, and then thereafter at the 22 300s. So it could be a pretty good move to the downside if they start knocking it down. But right now, I don't see it. It had to be a piece of news or something happening which is going to knock it off. So we'll see. Could be Powell too. Powell speaking on Wednesday. Was it Wednesday? Let me see here. He was speaking on Tuesday, tomorrow. So on July 1st. So if he says something massive, it's going to knock the market down. That it could be a bad scenario. But at this point, starting off on the long side, check this level, the 68, 22, 690s, and below that one, take off the long bias. Still look to buy against the 650s and 600s, all the way down here to that 400 level. So, but I would take off the long bias and to go back range bound. And if they keep going, I mean, at that point you can certainly look at the short side in the short term. Just be mindful that you don't sell into support areas. That is the key thing. All the way down to the 400 level, really. So it could be a pretty good move to the downside. And yeah, if it starts moving all the way down to the 400s, it's going to be all the way down to this little attractor down here. Yeah, you want to be on the short side of that move, but yeah, instead of give it. So if below that 680, they have some inkling that yeah, this is way too much for being just early weakness. Let's look at the a bigger move to the downside. So that's the Nasdaq starting off on the long side, same as the ES. Bond market, pretty much holding in a range. They're a little bit to the upper end of it still. Look at capital flow right here, slowly grinding. They right at that volume edge, the 115 still have not been able to take it out. So I would just start as usual, range bound. You see the mode has moved down here now. And we are trading at this attractive price. Fold this together, you can see that this is the overall range we are trading in. And we're just up at this upper edge. So we can technically trade back and forth in this whole range until a piece of news either takes it higher than 115, 115.08 or blow it down below the 111, 111.20s. So we'll see. But at this point, range bound trading on the bonds. Looking to buy, so in the short term, the levels are really looking to sell 115s, 115.08s, looking to buy against 14.26s, 20s, down to the 114.12s, so rotations back up again. So a fairly tight range. If they break out of it, then may have a directional move on our hands. And then finally, oil and gold. And gold, pull this guy up. It's pretty much kind of where we left it, so it hasn't really moved a whole lot. So it has been to the downside the last few days. A nice move out of the middle from that 33.40 level. We are right smack in this low volume area right now, probing. And let's see. I mean, so far it looks like 32.60, 65 held. They ran it pretty hard in overnight to the downside. Then right back up again. But the next attractor down is going to be right here at the 32.30s. So either it runs back up to the 33.40s or runs down to the 32.40s. So right now we're right in the middle of it. So I would say if they start trading above that 33.07s, it would be the high of the overnight, I would look for a move back to the 33.40s. And if it starts trading below this area, the 32.67s, I would be looking at the move down to the 32.30s. So looking to sell strength, 32.93s, 33.02s, 33.07s. Looking to buy weakness, 32.87s, 32.79s to 80s, 32.74 and 67s for rotations back up again. So fairly straightforward on gold, range bound. Not quite sure which side you're going to go on right now. Move out in the middle kind of implies that we may be heading lower. So I would prefer to sell strength in the 95s, the 3302s, the 3307s for rotations back down. But if they start taking out that London high, look for maybe a retracement trade right back up in case that would just mean that lower support area held. All right, so that's gold. Finally, oil still holding around that 65 mark. I'm just waiting for them to knock it down. So see if they can take this lower. So at this point, capital flow on oil. We are right here building value. They had a big probe to the upside, complete reversal when the risk off happened in the Middle East. And now I'm just waiting for them to take that next leg down here to the 61. So at this point, though, starting off range bound. Look, if they start trading above this area, the 6640s, or below the area 64s, that's our range we are trading in. So initially looking to buy again 6480s, 6440s down to the 64s. Looking to get short again 6575, 6610 up to the 6640s for rotations and back down again. So fairly straightforward stuff there as well. So range bound oil, range bound gold. I would favor the short shot on gold given that it's in a move out of the middle to the downside. But that's kind of how we get started. Back to the ES. So ES, still everything's pretty much stuck where we're at. So it's a short week, holiday week. I bet a bunch of people are taking the whole week off. So I expect light volume, maybe some volatility. And of course, remember, employment situation comes out early on Thursday this week. And then you have 2 half days on the equities. Now, just the housekeeping thing, I'm going to be out this morning, so I won't be back until the afternoon update. I may be back by the 1 o'clock update. I'm not sure yet, but it's if not, I'll be back for that 3:30 wrap up. All right, so as you know. But anyway, so we'll leave it there for now. Good trading, guys, and I will see you back at 3:30, worst case. All righty, guys, have you trade well. All right, later.